Hello and welcome back to Inclusive Design 24 2025 for the final talk of this year's event, brought to you with enormous thanks to our platinum sponsors, Accessibility Cloud and Intopia. You can find Inclusive Design 24 on both Blue Sky and Mastodon. And if you have a question or two for our final speaker, you can post them there using the ID24 hashtag or throw a comment into the YouTube channel and we'll scoop them all up and put them to the speaker at the end of the session. Quick reminder that Inclusive Design 24 is a respectful community, and you'll find a copy of our code of conduct linked from the bottom of every page of inclusivedesign24.org. Now, I'm absolutely delighted to be joined by one of our regular guest hosts, Jared Smith. Jared, over to you.
And thank you, Leonie. It's good to be here, and we are thrilled to hear our final talk of these 24 hours of sessions. We'll hear from Anthony Vasquez. We'll be presenting on autonomous vehicle accessibility, the good, the bad, and the game-changing. Over to you, Anthony.
Alrighty, thank you everyone. First of all, I'd just like to say it's a great honor to be giving this talk. I'm a big fan of Inclusive Design 24. Some of my former coworkers have presented here, and it's just still slightly unreal to be presenting but with that little disclaimer, I also want to say that this talk will lean heavy on Waymo, but I am not a Waymo employee or have done any actual usability studies with them. It's just a product which I've been privileged to try out, mostly for luck of living in Los Angeles. So, and with
Hey,
that, okay,
Anthony,
so
Anthony, just real quick.
yes.
I think you just need to resume your slideshow. Go back to the full screen slideshow.
Oh, we'll do the F5 and see how that
There we go.
goes.
Yep, that's it. Thanks.
Yeah, even a slight change in the volume of the speakers throws things off, I suppose. Okay. And well, slide one was already covered by Jared. It is, again, autonomous vehicle accessibility, the good, the bad, and the game changing. First, I'd like to set the scene. We can go back one slide. So imagine at this very moment, it's here an afternoon here in Los Angeles, maybe evening where you're watching, early morning. I'm not exaggerating to say that there is probably a blind traveler being refused service by a rideshare driver. Most likely it's because they're using a service animal, a guide dog. Those of us here in the accessibility and disability community know this is far too often the case, and it ought not to be this way. Or it could be somebody with a physical disability who uses a mobility device and needs a little more time to get into the car. Or someone who's using a wheelchair and is still waiting for their wheelchair accessible vehicle to arrive. These instances are not just inconveniences or a nuisance, they're really a barrier to inclusion. They're ways that people are excluded from social, economic, and political life. A missed rideshare trip, if it's to the airport, could be a missed flight and all the complications that happen from that. So what I want to kind of propose here is that maybe there is a better way, apart from rideshare companies enforcing applicable disability laws in the United States. It's the Americans with Disabilities Act. Maybe there's something better out there for us, and I speak as a blind person. So that's kind of setting the scene. And I have a little slide here with my agenda here. I've actually split up the agenda and I am bouncing back and forth between, okay, there we go, slide 3. I am bouncing between slides. This is the agenda. I've split it into two pieces just to kind of give you a heads up of what to expect. Setting the scene, we did that. Professional background, my professional background, my travel experience, a brief history of autonomous cars. We have something called Enter the Waymo. for Waymo, in the Waymo. And then later on in the talk, my aim is kind of to share more thoughts on how we can harness this new technology. It's a little debrief from a short video I'll share. And then we'll continue with speaking on the benefits of user experience and user experience testing with disabled people. Talk about missing affordances in the autonomous car in the Waymo that I've taken in Los Angeles. And we'll be thinking about the future. The professional experience, or in other words, who am I? Yeah, I guess one of the titles I kind of like currently carry is a digital accessibility specialist. Currently I am an accessibility tester with Fable, Canadian-based UX tech testing platform, and that's been a very fun experience to give really, I think, feedback that will improve products that are kind of there. Sometimes they're amazingly smooth experiences, but yeah, currently I'm a usability tester, and it's a very fun thing to be doing. I am formerly with Knowbility, ex-Knowbility, as it says on the slide, as a former communications specialist and also occasional accessibility trainer. Formerly, I've also been a lecturer at California State University in Long Beach, California, where I taught a couple online courses a few years ago. I'm also among the first blind Americans to study Mandarin in college. So in 2005, I decided I'd want to learn a new language. I'm already pretty fluent in Spanish. I thought, let's go learn something a little less studied, at least in the West. And so I chose Chinese. It's been a very fun journey. At that point, I thought I was the first in the US. I think there are at least I know of one other person who might have studied it or who did study it as a grad student who's blind. So be curious to know if anyone else predates me since 2006. I think there's at least one person. And I'm based in Los Angeles. My travel experience, what gives me a bit of, I guess, credentials, if that's the right word, for how I can comment on this technology. I mean, all these except for the three Waymos I've taken are human-driven rideshare vehicles, but here we go. It's a little humble brag, I suppose. More than 1,200 Uber rides in the US and internationally, which total up to about 19,000 miles. But who's counting? 19,000 miles, 30,000 kilometers. More than 600 Lyft rides in the US and Canada. And those are the only two countries they operate in. So that's why I phrase it that way. And that ended up, or has been, about 7,000 miles, or about 11,000 kilometers traveled. And at the very bottom, 3 Waymo rides in Los Angeles for 20 miles, 32 kilometers. And of course, that doesn't count thousands of paratransit rides, family and friends giving me rides, that kind of thing. But so that's kind of where I sit on this as a longtime user. Didn't mention or didn't put it here in the slide. Let's see, Uber. My first Uber was in San Francisco in 2014 with a friend. It's quite the novelty, it was very fun. My first Lyft was here in Los Angeles in 2015. So it's now, a couple thousand rides combined over the past 11 years. So all this, how did we get here? This is another way we could title this slide, A Brief History of Autonomous Cars. I suppose we could start in 1478. Leonardo da Vinci, it's known he designed a self-propelled cart, a tricycle of sorts with, from what I've read, 2 wheels in the front and a rear wheel to kind of act as a rudder, spring-loaded. From what I've read, he was inspired by watches. So you wind up the car or cart and it moves. From what I understand, it actually wasn't ever built, much like many of Da Vinci's designs. Think of the helicopter, right? But he had this conceptual idea that taking the then, I guess, state-of-the-art technology of the time, advanced precision watches in the 15th century, maybe there could be a car that could come out of this. In 2004, I did read that a museum in Italy did kind of build a prototype based on Da Vinci's designs. So, but then we have to fast forward into the modern era, 1925, and Francis P. Udina's remote control car in New York City. And at the time, it was quite the novelty to basically he in one car followed an autonomous vehicle through the streets of New York City, caused chaos. There were crashes. It was not the most successful drive, but also it was a neat experiment that showcased what could be done with radio technology at the time to control this, I guess, the first giant RC car. In 1939, Norman Bell Geddes, as part of GM's Futurama exhibit, showcased how maybe magnets could be used to steer vehicles. Didn't really take off much until later, though, and even today, magnets embedded in the roads is not the way it seems we're going to go. Fast forwarding to 1986, you had Carnegie Mellon's Nav Lab, or Navigation Lab, and that was a full-size van loaded with computers and other gadgets, cameras, that did steer across America with, of course, human interference occasionally, but it was kind of one of the first of its kind to do this. 2005, we had the DARPA challenge, the Defense Agency Research Projects Agency, DARPA. In 2005, Stanford's Tuareg won that challenge, but Carnegie Mellon was also involved in that. So now we enter the Waymo. So Google's self-driving car project began in 2009, testing roads across California. It was in the Bay Area, in Los Angeles, and in the Lake Tahoe area. So giving this technology, and back then it was a Prius, Toyota Prius, equipped with all the technology, drive around these kind of different landscapes of California, mountains in some parts, hilly urban area in San Francisco, and LA, kind of a mix of both. And by 2016, Waymo launched as an official company, spun out of Google X, and became one of the Alphabet companies. In 2018, it launched commercial service in Phoenix. In 2021, it was in San Francisco. And in 2024, it's now in Los Angeles. Before I show you a brief video here of my tour, a short trip I took this month, I just want to highlight some of the options that are available in the accessibility screen within the Waymo app. And this is only for the Waymo, so I can only assume, but I don't know, that the Android version has the same kind of setup. You'll find these in the account tab of the app. There's a whole section called Writing Tips. You activate that button and you are taken to a web page that kind of gives you a description of what to expect, the car, once you're inside, that kind of thing. Now there are switches in the accessibility screen. It asks you, for example, whether you'd like a wheelchair accessible vehicle, whether you'd like descriptive audio, and whether you'd like to minimize the walking time. So that may require the car to park a little bit in a different location or drop you off in a different location. It might take it longer to find you also. But so I've got the minimize walking time and the descriptive audio turned on. And here I want to show you, it's about a 2-minute video clip. I may pause it occasionally just to kind of add my own audio description because there are some silent parts to it. But we're here in West Los Angeles. A friend and I took this car. I sat in the front right seat. You're not allowed to sit in the driver's seat yet. So, but let's give this GoPro video a try.
Driving. Headed to Los Angeles Airport's Culver City.
I just double tapped it. I guess we gotta double tap it again.
Double tap to start driving. Ready to go.
Okay.
Heading to Los Angeles AO Work, Culver City. Please make sure your seatbelt is fastened. For any questions, press the call support button to speak with a rider support agent.
We'll film this sequence as it's navigating out of the parking lot. I think we're being honked at. No surprise there. I'm gonna point it forward. I hope it's high enough. Okay, it's easing its way onto Sepulveda. And it is on Sepulveda. Let's see if it tells me. I updated the app recently. Maybe that's why I'm not getting the turn-by-turn information. Which is unfortunate.
Proceeding on Rose Avenue.
Okay, so even after the update, it kept that setting. That's good. I'll pause it real quick. So, yeah, it did not. So, Sepulveda Boulevard, for those of you who are not in Los Angeles, is this. There are parts that are very like kind of quiet, but this part of West Los Angeles, it's a huge thoroughfare, multiple lanes on both sides. And it made that turn out of a crowded parking lot pretty smoothly. It didn't announce that one. It announced Rose, which we encountered oh gosh, a couple 100 feet down Sepulveda, and it made a right turn onto Rose. I wonder if it would be beneficial for, I mean, you feel the turn, right? I wonder where the audio description could be improved to give us more heads up, possibly, but okay, I'll continue the video. And there is no driver. That is odd. This was on a sunny evening about 2 weeks ago. Wow. Okay. Still continuing on Rose. And I've had a lot more footage, but let's continue. Yeah, the AC is on. Last I heard of the AC. Okay, that's me rambling about the AC while in the car. And that is the one functionality that I am locked out of, unless, well, I and also support staff are also locked out of that. So that's an issue. Let's continue.
Driving. Heading to Los Angeles.
There we go. Next slide. So the debrief. My friend and I did get to the LA Airworks safely. It took a little longer than planned. It actually dropped us off across the street, so actually very bad when it comes to the drop-off. But here are the points I've highlighted. Again, it was much easier this time actually to find the vehicle in this parking lot. It's outside of a coffee shop, and yet the car this time didn't cause any traffic jams to find me as it has before. So improvement there. As I've noted here, be careful of the spinning LiDAR on the hood. So yeah, that wasn't ever included in the little webpage that Waymo gives in the accessibility tips. It's hard to describe exactly. It's like a little dome on either side above the front tires. And there must be some sort of a grill that protects the spinning LiDAR, but my fingers did find it. They're fine. But it seems like a safety concern that has not been addressed. So heads up, be careful with your hands as you walk towards your Waymo. I hope nothing awful happens if your hand lingers are longer, but I was slightly shocked as I was trying to find the car. Other points. The turn-by-turn announcements were pretty good. It even did announce occasionally later on the ride when it stopped for pedestrians. It said something like waiting for pedestrians to cross. So that was helpful. But again, the bad drop-off location. We were across a major street and down the block. And I mean, there's many ways of addressing that. Of course, ideally it would be to show up where it's supposed to show up, but maybe announce that this is the best place, have a better link with the support service. I wasn't able to get the supports on the call, even though I was able to chat for them, for example, to turn off the AC, the air conditioning. So that was a issue. So we need, I think, better ways to contact support in the middle of a ride. And again, this is only one experience. The other two, I guess, had different issues, but all, I guess, above all, though, they all felt relatively safe. And again, I can't judge it, I guess, how many close calls we had, but it seems like it was okay. I think the novelty of these driverless cars is still causing some interest, for people honking, all that kind of thing. So, but yeah, there's always the pullover button. That is a button you can always press in the middle of a ride. So now we continue here with the benefits of UX testing. So this did not just come out of nowhere. I need to definitely give kudos for Waymo One's long-standing collaboration with the National Federation of the Blind. They've been at this for decades, you could say, making sure that throughout the process of autonomous vehicles taking over, that blind people are included. And initially, it started, from what I understand, from the blind driver challenge. So the idea there was like, let's modify existing vehicle technology, starting like 20 years ago, so that blind people can control their cars, so that steering wheels have some kind of tactile feedback, that kind of thing. As it turns out, I mean, that might not be the ultimate realization of all this technology, right? It's going to be the car driving itself, whether you're blind or not, right? It'd be fun. Personally, still would be fun for a blind person like me to control a car and do it safely and all that accessibly. So I'm not saying let's stop that, but at the same time, I think the real path forward for real inclusion is getting these autonomous vehicles to work. And again, they've worked with Waymo for improved usability, and Waymo has reached out to them. And we need more of this, right? This technology is here to stay. It's only in a few cities in the United States and in China right now, but I think it's got some positive force behind it. But there are missing affordances here. And again, ways to interact with the vehicle. The tablets themselves inside the Waymos are not accessible to me. There's no way that I know of to turn on a screen reader. I don't think they have one. There's no way to, for example, even use voice, just talking to the car. So this is a huge situation. Again, if there are chargers in the car, you can charge your phone, but what if something happens? Your phone becomes inoperable during the car. As I have not taken a Waymo on my own yet. Mostly because they're not in my neighborhood yet, but also that is a slight concern. So that needs to be addressed. There are no tactile buttons except for the window control and the door handle. Everything else is touchscreen. There's no way to interact with it safely. I mean, the steering wheel is there, but I'm not touching it. Yeah. And there's no what I would call like a where am I functionality, right? It's telling me what street we just turned on. It's telling me when it's stopping for pedestrians, but it's not telling me, for example, what's my current address. Yes, the smartphone is there. They're getting pretty good at that. We can just ask your assistant, where am I? Or use Google Maps or another app like Blind Square. But again, the car, I think, should also have this. And that leads me to get into better audio description. Or having an option, right? Maybe not everybody wants to know what they're driving past or what street is coming up. They just want to know what street they've turned on to, right? So everybody has different accessibility preferences in that sense. And so that should be respected. And should we have some way to adjust that? That would be neat. And again, a better support experience, because yeah, I chatted with an agent while trying to get the AC to work. We never got it going. They were very apologetic about it. At least that's what the text said. But yeah, I don't know. We need just better support there. Thinking about the future though. Yeah, I mean, I think there is definitely potential for social, economic, and political inclusion. Being able to get somewhere without having to either pre-plan through paratransit or look at, asking rides from friends or looking at the Uber, Lyft prices. Those are the big companies here in the United States, comparing prices and trying to negotiate the best deal, all these things. Not great all the time, and the cost of this is also quite expensive. An autonomous vehicle, maybe in theory, will be cheaper, it'll be safer. But I do think in the long run, if we can work out some of these issues that I've addressed here and other blind and disabled folk have found and have also shared, like, there's something huge here because still public transit will be an option, of course, where there is strong public transit. I would not rank Los Angeles in that list, sadly. But mobility is important. I'm grateful for online experiences like these, of course, but we need to be able to move around and do it safely. Of course, it needs to be well managed. It needs to be accessible. And again, this must be affordable. Yeah. That's the issue right now. I think I've recently noticed rideshare prices increasing. I kind of break it down into two tiers. For short rides, at least in Los Angeles, I call those like under 5 miles or 8 kilometers. We're still talking about $5 US per mile. And that's not in like peak hour. Longer rides can get as cheap to about $1.50 a mile. Around that is probably the cheapest you'll get these days. But again, even for a working person, like this is not, I think, a sustainable financial expense. And so those are kind of thoughts I have. Very excited to hear the questions. The last slide is titled Contact Information. And really my best way of getting of interacting, I think, would be LinkedIn. So again, my name is Anthony Vasquez, ANTHONY. Last name is Vasquez, VASQUEZ, Digital Accessibility Specialist. I'm also available for any kind of freelance consulting. I'll drop in here my URL for the LinkedIn. That's linkedin.com/in/ANTVASQUEZ. And again, I just want to thank everyone for making this opportunity possible, for giving me this platform to share my firsthand experiences. And I'm very curious about the questions to come. And yeah, this has potential, but we need everyone to do their part so that we can move a little bit more safely and get to where we need to go, including everyone. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Anthony. It's yeah, definitely an area of interest to me, certainly as a blind person. So it was great to hear you talk about it.
Yeah.
Thank you. Jared, did we have any questions come in? I know I've got a few. So,
Yeah, I had one, and then Leonie, you can go ahead and pose your question. But Anthony, I was just curious, you spoke to this a little bit, but are there mechanisms for users with disabilities to provide feedback? Are they involved in testing and development of better, more accessible technologies when it comes to autonomous vehicles?
And so Waymo is the one that I know most of course. I would hope that other companies are doing the same. Yeah, I mean, they have what's called the Waymo Accessibility Network, and I have yet to join. Just a little, I guess, a bit of gotta get on that. But I mean, I know they are just from what they've been involved in 2023. Their head of global policy gave a talk at the NFB conference 2023, 2022. So they're there. They're in the room. Blind people are in the room, as the phrase goes. Is a positive sign. It's a low bar, but all the buttons are labeled. Yeah. Now, I think there really has been some well thought out designs. The latest one I just saw, I guess it's a beta that through Bluetooth, when it detects you're within a certain range of the car, the doors automatically unlock. That's neat because the handles are recessed. So it does take a bit of a challenge to find that at first. So short answer, yes. I think they're doing something. I just wonder how much more they can do.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I'm also curious what your thoughts are about the role of like governments and legislation for ensuring accessibility of these vehicles. There are requirements, for instance, for public transportation systems and taxis, and some of that may apply, but does there need to be more of a kind of a legislative and policy type of role in supporting this accessibility, especially for some of these companies that are very much driven by revenue and profits right now, and they have all of this funding. Just I wonder if they need a little more encouragement, and maybe what the role might be there of some of those policy discussions.
I would agree, yes. I mean, I think we're still like in the Wild West era of this stuff, but I mean, we need standards for autonomous vehicles if there hasn't been something set yet. A WCAG for autonomous vehicles. Um, but no, I mean, because yeah, I think eventually this for sustainable use of these services, and this includes the rideshare companies now, we're gonna, I guess I'll say we're gonna need some kind of government subsidy like paratransit does, right? I mean, these Waymos right now, I think I've done the average for these 3 rides, the 20 miles, it's $80. So yeah, about $4 a mile. It's just not sustainable for most people, I don't think. So yeah, government needs to get involved both in accessibility, as in we can use it, but also the affordability of it. And we need standards, yeah. Um,
Okay, thank you. Yeah, Leonie, you had a question.
I did, yeah. So I went to a talk about a month or so ago by Ben Lowenstein, who's Waymo's public policy lead, I think his title is, and he mentioned a nice feature, I think, about the noise that you can get the car to make to help you track it down in the street. Did you get a chance to experience that at all?
the melody, yes, yes.
Yeah.
So there are two options on that screen once the vehicle has arrived. You've got the honk horn, which does what the button says, and then
Mhm.
play melody. It's got like a low, almost sounds like a old school ice cream truck in a way. And that is going to be probably less disruptive to other folks. It's like in parking lots, right? Because they hear a horn, it sounds like a normal car horn. There's nothing to distinguish it. Like, oh, that's a Waymo horn. It's just a car horn, like a short
Right.
half-second beep. So
And
yeah, yeah.
yeah, I think that's why they did it. The feedback they got, I'm not sure from blind passengers specifically or just people generally, was
Yeah.
that, yeah, having a car sound like every other damn car on the road that's honking its horn is not a useful way to find the one car you're actually looking for. So, yeah.
Especially in a parking lot. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And the other thing I thought was interesting to your point about, not the car not being able to tell you exactly where you are.
Yeah.
At the moment, you've got to go to a third party app. And this question did actually get asked, and the audience, I should be clear, was a group of blind people.
Okay.
Why can't you tap into the maps that the
Yes.
car is using for visually impaired people? And the answer actually surprised me because it just hadn't occurred to me. It's basically because the kind of maps that the cars need are not actually that useful to human beings.
Mhm.
They're a whole different definition of kind of precision of information, the way it's presented, the way it's stored, because obviously the kind of accuracy that you need to be able to steer a car around a map is very different from the one you need to be able to drive a car around or even walk around the map. So yeah, the onboard system is in itself not much use to a human being, I gather, in that kind of a sense. So it's I agree, it's something they should bring in though. How is it with the features like, we're slowing down for pedestrians or
Well, that one it did say it did announce, slowing
yeah.
or stopping for pedestrians. I mean, I did find it funny, like you mentioned, my friends were looking at the car and their side they were looking at the controls, and yeah, it's quite detailed. Like it's got like
Mhm.
icons for houses and I think like for animals or for bikes. So like that's
Right.
almost too much information, right? Like I mean, it's
Mhm.
not like I don't need to know, I guess, what kind of house it is or anything like that. Just like where am I? Give me an address, kind of like
Yeah.
like in Blind Square, you shake it and the phone tells you your nearest address is and
Mhm.
that. So Yeah, different data, I suppose, and maybe it'd be too granular, it'd be overwhelming.
Maybe
There's
it
gotta
could
be
be
a
nice
middle
to
way
have
of
an
some sort.
option though. I don't know
Yeah,
about you,
yeah.
but when I travel, I will quite often stick on something like Voice Vista, just because I'm curious about what I'm
Yeah,
driving past in the cab on the way from the airport to my hotel or something like that. And
exactly.
so, yeah, sometimes you might be quite curious about what's just floating past outside the window. So it's cool.
Yeah, right now
So
it's all or
what,
nothing. You're
right.
getting the turn by turn, which again it missed that first turn when it exited the parking lot and made that right turn, but it did announce pretty much every other street. It didn't announce when it made a U-turn to drop us off at the wrong spot. It's a whole thing
Mhm.
that so, but there's got to be some kind of adjustable that should be adjustable, I think, and
Yeah.
maybe they're working on it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So what's the biggest thing you think they need to do next, or feature they need, or thing they need to
Yeah, I
fix?
mean, so I think kind of on that same vein, it'd be nice to know where the car is as it's coming towards me, right?
Mhm.
It's been probably an issue just using the rideshare services, right? Like
Right.
at least Uber has a feature where it tells you, it's 1 mile away, it's 500 feet to go, but it doesn't tell me where it is. So likewise,
Okay.
I think it would be nice for the Waymo to say, okay, it's 200 feet away, about to cross, right? Because again, I know kind of these streets, or even if I don't, like, it's good to know, even for a
Mm.
sighted person, hey, where's your car? Well, it
Right.
says it's on that street, and then if it's lost or we're in the wrong spot, we have a better idea as blind travelers where to
Mhm.
guide someone to help us find it, for example.
Yeah.
So that'd be on the software side within the app. And I still think again, getting some kind of affordance on in the car to use those tablets. Those must be just Android powered tablets that,
Right.
can could you slap talk back on that and see what happens?
So do you know if any of the functionality that's available in the car devices is available through the app on your phone, or is it completely
Most
separate? Mm.
no, most are the
Mhm.
music, the support, the climate control was not.
Right.
The pullover button was there.
Mhm.
So I guess that's their kind of workaround. But
Maybe.
again,
Yeah. Mhm.
yeah, there's got to be some other way to integrate it, or like a live call. Like I was asking about the AC just to see what they would tell me.
Right.
Can we like do a phone call and you tell me which button to press, or do a video call and you tell me
Mhm.
which button to
Mm.
press? No. So now there are cameras in the car, so this
Yeah.
is feasible. I guess there are security and privacy concerns, of course, but yeah. So most except for the climate control, maybe that's coming in the next release or in the next ride I take. But um, yeah. Oh no, it's a quite. I mean. Yeah, being in the front seat like that and like you tap to your left and there's no one there, it's still quite surreal to be honest.
Yes, I can only imagine. I'm not sure
Hmm.
yet whether I'd have the courage to try one of these on my own yet
Yeah.
when I next find
I
myself
think
in a
what
city.
inspired me more to kind of try these, like I heard just like on social media that like parents were sending their like children to like school and events in Phoenix, which is I guess
Sure.
where they're more there's a bigger share and bigger number of Waymos in Phoenix. I'm like, well, if
Mm.
parents are sending their kids in these, like I mean that's not the only kind of bar to measure some of product safety, but
Yeah.
that
Hmm.
kind of got me thinking that yeah, maybe they're onto something here, and
Yeah.
you can't just neglect this technology when the data does show that it, at least so far it's safer than human-driven vehicles and all that. So,
Right.
but it's
And as you say, if they get it right and they get all the features in place for people like you and me, it's got huge potential, huge
yeah,
advantages. So
right. And again, it's not like something if the prices don't drop, it's not like you're going to be doing it all the time. But spur
mhm.
of the moment, I need to get somewhere now. I don't want to worry about the human-driven car. Let's just go. So, and the uses haven't probably been thought of yet how useful these things could be. And
Mhm.
yeah,
Great. Well, that's wonderful. Anthony, thank you again for just telling us all that information
thank
about
you.
the Waymo cars and
Oh,
your
I hope
experiences.
I hope the video
Uh,
was okay. It's I literally bought a GoPro for this just to kind of get the most, um, highest quality video and still be able to use my phone at the same time. There'll be more to come, I think. I mean, I think part of it is like let's just document these things and
mhm.
get them out there in the public because I think people are curious, and yeah, the more travelers and more blind travelers document this stuff, the better.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. So, Anthony, thank you again. Jared, also, thank you very
Yeah.
much to you for joining us again as a guest host. To everyone else listening, if you like this session, please head over to our YouTube channel and press the like button to show your appreciation. And while you're there, you might as well subscribe to the channel, and that way you'll get to be kept up to date with everything else that goes on as we post and update and look ahead perhaps to even next year. Once more, for the final time in Inclusive Design 2025, I want to sincerely thank all of the organisations who've supported us. Our platinum supporters, Intopia and Accessibility Cloud, our silver supporter, Intuit, and our bronze supporters, the Law Office of Laney Feingold, Mantis & Co, and last but by no means least, Vispero. Inclusive Design 24 may well be back next year. This was our 13th, and who knows what the future will bring. But in the meantime, take care of yourselves. Goodbye.